Let me start with something very simple. Most people don't lose because they are not talented. They lose because they are afraid. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in the world. It makes people doubt themselves, hesitate, and miss opportunities that are right in front of them. And right now, in this era of artificial intelligence, fear is everywhere. People look at AI and immediately think, this thing is going to replace me. They panic. They worry about their jobs, their future, their skills. But here's the truth. Every major technological shift in history created the same fear. When the internet started growing, people thought businesses would disappear. When social media exploded, people said it was just a trend. The same story repeats itself again and again. The problem isn't AI. The problem is how people react to change. If you look closely, the individuals who win are not the ones who complain about new tools. They are the ones who become curious about them. They ask questions, they experiment, they learn faster than everyone else. Technology doesn't destroy opportunity, it creates new opportunity for those who are willing to adapt. And that brings me to another misunderstanding about success. Many people believe success is a straight line. They imagine someone waking up one day, launching something amazing, and suddenly becoming successful. That story sounds nice, but it is rarely the truth. Real success is messy. It includes failure, rejection, mistakes, and moments where you feel completely lost. Those moments are not signs that you are losing forever. They are signals that you are learning. When you fail, you collect information. You learn what doesn't work. You develop resilience. You build the kind of mental strength that no book or course can teach. The people who win again are the people who respect the process of losing. They understand that every setback is data. Now let's talk about patience, because this is another place where people get success completely wrong. We live in a world where everything feels instant. You can order food, watch a movie, or send a message in seconds. Because of that environment, many people expect success to work the same way. They start something today and expect results tomorrow. But building something meaningful takes time. It takes years of learning, testing, adjusting, and improving. The most dangerous thing someone can do is quit too early because they think they are behind. In reality, they are just at the beginning. AI will change industries. Fear will always exist. Mistakes will always happen. But none of these things decide your future. What decides your future is your willingness to stay curious, stay patient, and keep taking action even when things feel uncertain. Winning again is not about avoiding change. It is about learning how to move with it. It is about understanding that fear is often just a signal that you are standing at the edge of something new. And the people who succeed are not the ones who run away from that edge. They are the ones who step forward, learn quickly, and keep building while everyone else is still debating whether the opportunity is real. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions that drives human behavior, especially when people face something they don't fully understand. In today's world, artificial intelligence has become one of the biggest triggers of that fear. Many people look at AI and immediately imagine a future where machines take their jobs, replace their skills, and remove their value from the marketplace. The conversation quickly becomes negative because fear naturally pushes people to focus on what they might lose instead of what they might gain. The reality, however, is that fear often appears at the exact moment when the biggest opportunities are forming. Throughout history, every major technological shift created this same reaction. When the internet began spreading into homes and businesses, many people believed it would destroy traditional industries. When social media platforms started growing, critics claimed they were distractions rather than powerful communication tools. In both situations, the people who succeeded were not the ones who spent their time worrying about change. They were the ones who became curious about it. Curiosity turns fear into exploration. It changes the mindset from avoidance to experimentation. Artificial intelligence is simply another tool, but like every powerful tool, its impact depends on the people who learn how to use it effectively. Instead of viewing AI as a competitor, individuals can approach it as an assistant that enhances productivity, creativity, and problem solving. A designer can use AI to test new visual concepts faster. A writer can use it to research ideas more efficiently. A business owner can use it to analyze customer behavior and make better decisions. The technology itself does not remove human value. It often amplifies the value of those who learn how to integrate it into their work. Fear becomes dangerous when it leads to paralysis. When someone spends too much time imagining worst-case scenarios, they stop taking action. They delay learning new skills, delay experimenting with tools, and delay adapting to the changing environment. Meanwhile, others who are less afraid begin to move forward. They start testing ideas, learning the systems, and building familiarity with the new landscape. Over time, the gap between the people who acted and the people who hesitated becomes wider. The most effective response to fear is not denial, but understanding. When people take the time to study a new technology, explore its capabilities, and experiment with its applications, the unknown becomes familiar. Familiarity reduces anxiety and opens the door to creativity. Instead of feeling threatened by change, individuals begin to see how the change can expand their abilities, improve their efficiency, and create opportunities that were previously impossible to imagine. Adapting to technology has always been one of the defining factors that separates those who grow from those who fall behind. Every generation faces a moment when the world begins to change faster than expected, and people are forced to decide how they will respond. Some people choose resistance. They criticize the new tools, complain about the speed of change, and hope that things will return to the way they used to be. Others choose adaptation. They observe the shift carefully, they experiment with the new systems, and they begin learning before everyone else fully understands what is happening. Artificial intelligence is one of those moments. It represents a shift that is changing how people work, communicate, and solve problems. Many individuals look at this technology and immediately assume it will replace human creativity and intelligence. They imagine machines taking control of tasks that once required years of experience. That assumption creates anxiety and pushes people to distance themselves from the technology instead of understanding it. The irony is that the people who gain the most advantage from AI are not the ones who avoid it. They are the ones who explore it early and discover how it can amplify their own abilities. Technology rarely removes the need for human thinking. Instead, it changes the type of thinking that becomes valuable. When calculators became common, mathematicians did not disappear. Instead, they began focusing on more advanced analysis and problem solving. When computers became widespread, businesses did not stop hiring professionals. They started looking for individuals who understood how to use computers effectively. Artificial intelligence follows the same pattern. It does not eliminate the need for human insight. It shifts the importance toward creativity, judgment, strategy, and emotional intelligence. People who adapt successfully tend to share a similar mindset. They view new tools as experiments rather than threats. Instead of asking whether technology will replace them, they ask how the technology can make them faster, smarter, or more efficient. They spend time learning the systems, testing the features, and integrating them into their daily routines. Small experiments eventually become habits, and those habits turn into advantages that compound over time. Adapting also requires humility. It means accepting that the world is evolving and that continuous learning is necessary to remain relevant. The individuals who thrive in technological revolutions are rarely the ones who believe they already know everything. They are the ones who stay curious, ask questions, and allow themselves to be beginners again. That willingness to learn keeps them flexible in environments where change never stops and where new opportunities constantly appear for those who are prepared to explore them. One of the biggest misconceptions people have about success is the belief that tools are the main factor that determines outcomes. In today's world, this misunderstanding has become even stronger because of the rapid growth of technology and artificial intelligence. People often look at new tools and assume that whoever has access to the most advanced systems will automatically succeed. They focus on the software, the platforms, and the algorithms, believing that these things alone create results. The truth is that tools are only as powerful as the mindset of the person using them. Mindset shapes how individuals approach problems, opportunities, and uncertainty. Two people can have access to the exact same technology, the same information, and the same resources, yet achieve completely different outcomes. One person may approach the tool with curiosity and creativity, exploring different ways it can be applied. Another person may use it in a limited way, only performing the most basic tasks without questioning how it could be used more effectively. The difference is not the technology itself, but the willingness to think differently. Creativity remains one of the most valuable human abilities in an age of automation. Artificial intelligence can process large amounts of data, generate patterns, and assist with repetitive tasks, but it still depends on human direction. The questions people ask, the ideas they explore, and the vision they bring into a project determine how meaningful the results become. Someone with a creative mindset will constantly experiment, combining tools and ideas in ways that others might overlook. A growth mindset also plays an essential role in how people interact with technology. Individuals who believe their abilities can improve through learning tend to approach challenges with more energy and persistence. When they encounter a new tool, they do not expect immediate mastery. They recognize that learning takes time, and they accept mistakes as part of the process. Each attempt becomes a step toward understanding how the system works and how it can be used more effectively. Those who focus only on the tools often become frustrated when they do not see instant success. They might blame the technology, assume it is ineffective, or conclude that it only works for others. In reality, the limitation is often their approach rather than the tool itself. People who prioritize mindset invest time in developing critical thinking, adaptability, and curiosity. These qualities allow them to use any tool more effectively because they are constantly searching for better ways to apply it. The most successful individuals understand that technology is an amplifier rather than a replacement for human qualities. When a person combines strong curiosity, creative thinking, and a willingness to learn with powerful tools, the results become far more impactful than technology alone could ever produce. Failure is often misunderstood as the opposite of success, but in reality, it functions more like a training system that prepares people for future wins. Many individuals grow up believing that losing or making mistakes is something to avoid at all costs. They are taught to aim for perfection and to protect their reputation by staying within safe boundaries. This mindset creates a strong fear of failure, and that fear can quietly limit the willingness to try new ideas, explore unfamiliar paths, or take meaningful risks. In competitive environments, whether in business, creativity, or technology, mistakes are unavoidable. Every attempt to build something new involves uncertainty. A strategy that appears promising might not produce the expected results. A product may fail to connect with the audience. An idea that seemed innovative could be misunderstood. These outcomes are not signs that someone lacks ability. They are part of the experimentation required to discover what truly works. When people treat failure as information rather than defeat, their perspective begins to change. Each unsuccessful attempt provides data about what needs adjustment. It reveals weaknesses in the plan, gaps in knowledge, or unexpected reactions from the market. Instead of feeling embarrassed by mistakes, individuals who adopt this perspective study them carefully. They analyze what happened, identify the lessons hidden within the experience, and apply those insights to the next attempt. Resilience develops through this repeated process of testing, learning, and adjusting. The more a person experiences setbacks and continues moving forward, the more comfortable they become with uncertainty. Challenges that once felt overwhelming begin to appear manageable because the individual has already navigated similar situations before. This resilience becomes a powerful advantage, especially in industries that change quickly and reward continuous experimentation. Another important aspect of failure is the emotional growth it creates. Facing disappointment forces people to examine their expectations, motivations, and habits. It encourages reflection about what truly matters and which goals are worth pursuing with long-term commitment. Over time, individuals who experience failure begin to separate their identity from their results. They understand that a failed attempt does not define their overall ability or potential. People who succeed repeatedly are rarely those who avoided failure entirely. They are often the ones who encountered it early, learned from it quickly, and continued refining their approach. The process of losing teaches lessons that success alone cannot provide. It strengthens judgment, sharpens instincts, and builds the confidence that comes from knowing that setbacks can be survived and transformed into knowledge that guides the next opportunity. One of the most common misunderstandings about success is the belief that it happens quickly. Many people look at successful individuals and assume that their achievements appeared almost overnight. They see the recognition, the growth, the influence, or the financial results, but they rarely see the years of effort that existed before those outcomes became visible. This misunderstanding creates unrealistic expectations and often leads people to give up too early in their own journey. Modern culture has strengthened this problem by making everything feel instant. Technology allows people to access information, entertainment, and services within seconds. Because of this environment, the mind begins to expect immediate results in many areas of life. When someone starts a business, launches a project, or begins learning a new skill, they may subconsciously expect progress to happen at the same speed as the digital world around them. When the results take longer than expected, frustration begins to appear. Real growth does not follow the same pace as instant technology. Building expertise requires repetition, practice, and continuous improvement. Each small step contributes to a larger process that often unfolds slowly over time. Skills develop gradually as individuals learn from experience, refine their approach, and gain deeper understanding. The process may feel slow in the moment, but each stage prepares the foundation for the next level of progress. Patience becomes a crucial quality in this process. It allows individuals to stay committed even when visible results are limited. Instead of measuring success only by immediate outcomes, patient individuals focus on the consistency of their actions. They understand that improvement is happening even when external recognition has not yet appeared. Each effort, each lesson, and each adjustment contributes to long-term growth that may not be obvious in the early stages. Long-term thinking also changes how people evaluate setbacks. When someone expects instant success, a single mistake or delay can feel like a major failure. However, when the perspective shifts toward long-term development, those same setbacks appear much smaller. They become temporary obstacles within a much larger journey. This mindset helps individuals maintain motivation because they recognize that progress is measured across years rather than days. The individuals who achieve lasting success often share a deep respect for time. They are willing to invest energy into learning, experimenting, and improving even when the rewards are not immediate. Their patience allows them to outlast many others who abandon their efforts too soon. Over time, consistent work compounds, skills become stronger, and opportunities begin to appear more frequently for those who remained committed to the long process of growth. In every period of change, there are always two types of people. The first group spends most of their time complaining about what is happening. They talk about how unfair the situation is, how fast the world is changing, or how difficult it has become to keep up. They analyze problems endlessly, discuss obstacles with others, and focus their energy on explaining why something might not work. The second group behaves very differently. Instead of spending their time complaining, they spend their time doing. They take action, test ideas, and learn directly from experience. Action creates momentum. When someone begins experimenting with new tools, technologies, or strategies, they gain insights that cannot be learned through discussion alone. Every small attempt reveals something useful. Sometimes the result shows what works well, and other times it reveals what needs improvement. Either outcome moves the person forward because they now possess information that was previously unknown. Complaints rarely produce progress because they keep attention focused on the problem rather than the solution. When people constantly talk about what is wrong with the system, they reinforce a mindset that feels powerless. This mindset slowly reduces motivation to explore alternatives or try new approaches. Over time, the habit of complaining can become comfortable because it removes the responsibility of taking action. Individuals who focus on execution understand that progress often begins with imperfect steps. They do not wait until they have the perfect plan or complete certainty about the outcome. Instead, they begin with what they currently know and improve their approach as they gather more experience. This willingness to start before everything feels ready allows them to move faster than those who are still debating whether the conditions are ideal. Another advantage of action is the speed of learning it creates. Practical experience exposes details that are difficult to predict in theory. By interacting with real situations, individuals discover patterns, challenges, and opportunities that might never appear during planning alone. This knowledge becomes extremely valuable because it builds practical understanding that others may not have. Over time, consistent action builds confidence. Each completed attempt, even if imperfect, proves that progress is possible. Confidence encourages further experimentation, which leads to more learning and better decisions. People who prioritize execution gradually develop a rhythm of testing ideas, observing results, and adjusting their strategies. The difference between those who move forward and those who remain stuck often comes down to this simple principle: action creates clarity. While some individuals are still discussing whether change is good or bad, others are already learning how to navigate it by engaging directly with the opportunities that exist within it. Winning again in a world shaped by rapid change, artificial intelligence, and constant uncertainty is not about avoiding fear, waiting for perfect conditions, or chasing shortcuts to success. It is about understanding how these forces actually work. Fear often appears when something new enters the world, but fear is rarely a signal to stop. More often, it is a signal that an opportunity is forming for those who are willing to understand it instead of running from it. Technology like AI does not remove human value. It magnifies the value of people who stay curious, adaptable, and creative. Success is also widely misunderstood because many people focus on the wrong things. They focus on tools instead of mindset, speed instead of patience, and comfort instead of growth. The individuals who consistently move forward are the ones who invest in learning, experiment with new systems, and stay flexible when the environment changes. They recognize that powerful tools only become meaningful when combined with human curiosity, imagination, and the courage to explore new possibilities. Failure, which many people try so hard to avoid, often becomes one of the most powerful teachers along the journey. Every setback carries information, every mistake reveals a lesson, and every challenge builds resilience. The people who eventually succeed are rarely those who avoided losing. They are the ones who learned how to use failure as feedback. Over time, these experiences sharpen judgment, strengthen confidence, and prepare individuals to recognize opportunities that others might miss. Patience plays an equally important role. In a world that encourages instant results, real achievement still follows a slower and more demanding process. Skills must be developed, ideas must be refined, and experience must accumulate before meaningful breakthroughs appear. Those who understand this are able to stay committed long enough for their consistent effort to compound into real progress. Above all, the difference between those who move forward and those who remain stuck often comes down to action. Complaining about change does not create opportunity, but engaging with change does. The people who win again are the ones who stay curious, continue learning, experiment with new tools, and keep moving even when the future feels uncertain. Over time, that willingness to adapt, learn, and execute transforms fear into knowledge, mistakes into growth, and uncertainty into new paths towards success.